You're listening to Finalysis, a sci-fi and fantasy TV podcast. My name is Kris.
And my name is Stephanie. In this episode, we're focusing on the non-canonical, but incontrovertible. There are no contras to vert here, Kris. Incontrovertible fact that Kara Danvers and Lena Luthor are in love.
Yes, I mean, it is undeniable. I don't know why anyone would deny it.
Ridiculous people.
We are talking about the subtext of episode 305 of Supergirl, and then everything that happened in our imaginations after that. So many things. Actually, it wasn't even so much like in my imagination after that as I was watching, I was internally freaking out because what is happening regarding specifically Lena's face?
Yeah, it wasn't quite as fraught as the water pitcher moment in Ace Reporter. I feel like we have yet to have another moment where I so very much was leaning into my screen asking myself, are they going to kiss? I know they're not going to kiss, but are they going to kiss? They totally look like they're about to kiss. But
yeah, it wasn't really one of those moments, but there's that whole scene where Lena and Cara are talking in Sam's kitchen.
And Lena is drunk.
And like the camera is very close in on Lena. And Lena's throwing around words like love, and
yes.
Like her eyes are conveying said love.
She's giving Cara these desiring, smoldery looks over her shoulder. Stuff was going on Lena's face in that scene.
A whole lot of stuff. It's true.
Besides just the drunkenness, we are more truthful when we have been drinking, right? And I feel like this is just the love for Cara. Being directed at Cara being directed at Cara by Lena.
What was that about? You were saying about effects of alcohol?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was just completing the circle, Kris. So it was directed at Cara toward Lena is what I was going to say to complete the circle of the romantic love, because there's a circle here, Kris. We've mentioned the importance of circular things when it comes to Cara and Lena in this podcast. You know what also is circular? The top of a wine glass, so I feel like they were just reaffirming their wedding vows in this scene. It's what clearly was happening. I have not had a shot of whiskey. No, I didn't, because I didn't. I had a shot of tequila.
And we're at the point in Stephanie's drunkenness where she thinks she's hilarious. Apparently.
I'm actually not that drunk.
Uh-huh. That's not what it sounds like.
That is fair.
Anyway, what I was going to say was that Lena did hand Cara a wine glass at the end of the episode.
Which has a circular top to it.
Yes, and a circular bottom.
And you had mentioned your hair theory last week that they were doing each other's hair. Mm-hmm. What did Lena Luthor have her hair in this week? A ponytail. What do you need for a ponytail?
A hair tie. I'm sure that there was an exchange of hair ties involved at some point.
And you know, when Lena was stocking her desk at L Corp, Cara brought her rubber bands, is all I'm saying.
There you go.
Honestly, I was a little worried what was going to happen in the scene when Lena was drunk, just because I worried Lena would do something that she would then regret later. Like, because she's trying to push Cara away in that scene, but Cara just won't have it, you know? She stays even though Lena tells her to leave.
Yep. I do actually really love, not to talk too much about things that actually happen on the show, I do really love that both Cara and Sam were, like, determined to watch over her, even though she didn't really... She claimed to not want them to.
Lena just, she needs people who love and support her.
I know, it made me so happy that she got that this episode.
Yes, absolutely. And I did really feel like this was a decent Lena Luthor plotline. Mm-hmm. As much as I was distracted by Kitty McGraw's face and the sexiness that was exuding from her face in her drunken state scene, that was a really good scene, just generally.
Honestly, I need to rewatch the scene because I got very distracted by my internal screaming. What is happening?
Can I redirect us to how amazing Lena Luthor and Kara Danvers looked this week?
Please do.
Because belts, Kris. Belts. They were both wearing belts. Lena was wearing a jacket that specifically did not hide her belt. Mm-hmm. I was pretty excited.
Because she wanted to show off the belt that was part of the belt exchange with Cara as part of their wedding vows.
Yes, exactly. This was the show of the wedding belts. Also, the scene with the belts involved Cara stepping in and defending her spouse when Edge was getting too mean. And yeah, she did it in the whole, like, oh, Supergirl made the decision too because, you know, she's got to keep up appearances because she hasn't told Lena yet. Why, Cara? Why? I don't support your move on this. You need to be open and honest with your spouse is what I'm saying. However,
how do you know she hasn't been?
What do you mean, Kris? What do you mean?
I mean, since we're operating under our full knowledge that they are married, clearly Cara has told her, hence the explanation of the Kryptonian rituals of exchanging circular things. Lena totally knows.
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking about.
But it was so cute seeing Cara be so protective of her spouse. That nervous little smile that Lena threw Cara, who was watching out in the crowd before she gave her heartfelt little press conference. The way that Cara, like, inhaled and exhaled to calm herself because she was so nervous for her beloved spouse and her safety and what was going to happen to her. It was very sweet.
Yeah, the little supportive thumbs up. So adorable.
Another thing I thought was adorable, when Lena was sad and she needed some comforting, what did she do? She put on her spouse's sweatshirt from National City University. We know Lena did not go to National City University. Clearly, that was Kara's sweatshirt.
It seems likely, yes.
And it was nice of Sam to take them in, right? Because the reporters would be staked out at their house, because everybody knows that they're married. And, you know, they couldn't go back there, clearly.
Right.
So Sam was very kind to let them stay, you know?
It's true. It's true.
Well, and I was really worried for Lena Luthor in this episode, because she clearly had some very self-destructive sad thoughts going on this week.
I know.
And you know, I'm just glad that the sight of her wife not wanting her to die was enough to, like, get Lena motivated to want to save herself. I was worried how that was going to play off. I knew Cara would not let her die, obviously, but I was worried to see how that would all turn out. But I'm glad that Lena, she knew that there was enough good in her that she was worth saving.
Yes, me too. Also, since we were talking about faces, can we talk about what on earth Katie McGraw's face is doing in the scene?
Okay.
Because what is it doing in the scene?
In the plane rescue scene?
Yes. There have been Tumblr posts. There were some after the initial commercial aired, right? Because there's that shot of her looking up at Supergirl, but we don't know that that's who she's looking at or what she's looking at. All we see is this look on her face where she looks a little worried and then, like, a little happy. And so there are all sorts of people, like, so clearly she's, like, looking at probably Supergirl and is looking maybe a little turned on. And so then I saw posts after the episode aired and, like, remember when we were talking about that? Who knew we were right?
Well, nothing really lights up Lena Luthor's face besides the sight of Kara Danvers.
It's true.
/ Supergirl.
It's true. It's a good face. They're both good faces.
They make good faces at each other.
It's true.
I don't know about you, Kris, but I feel like I had a full Lena Luthor experience in this episode.
Explain further.
Well, we got, you know, highly coiffed business Lena, where she's icy and, you know, staring down people, wearing a belt and, you know, just looking fantastic and in her element. And then we got, you know, like, emotionally messy Lena. We got casual Lena in a sweatshirt.
People were very excited about the sweatshirt on social media. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Well, I mean, this is clearly the most casual outfit we've seen Lena in. It's pretty exciting, I gotta say.
She does look all soft and cozy, and you just kind of want to snuggle her.
Exactly,
not that
soft and cozy.
Ever don't want to do that, but
she's got, like, a slightly messy bun, a slightly messy version of her usual, you know, power hairdo. It's like, oh, she's been taken down a peg. She's fraught. Oh, Lena. And then, you know, we get just absolute drunken emotional mess Lena, who, even though I feel like a terrible person, Kris, because I love her so much, but I like seeing her in pain. It makes me love her more. You know, I've said before, she just looks so pretty when her eyes do like that glassy about to cry thing that she does. Her face, it's a wonderful face. She just is so attractive. But then I'm like, you're terrible, Stephanie, you're terrible. Lena is distraught, and you're thinking, oh, she's just so pretty. But she is!
It's true. It's true, she is. And it is also true that you're a terrible person. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Fair. And then, you know, after a complete emotional mess, Lena, we get, you know, coming from behind, revengey Lena, tough Lena, who throws herself in the face of danger, trying to help, but really just kind of making things a little bit worse. I love you, Lena, but it wasn't the bestest move. And then, Chris, at the end of the episode, where she's talking to James, she has like a messy ponytail thing going on. Mm-hmm. I was into it. I was really into it.
It was a good messy ponytail, and I'm someone who knows a messy ponytail. I need Kara Danvers to come help me.
Speaking of Kara Danvers in this moment, I feel like it's also, we should highlight that they said that they love each other in this episode.
They did. The word love was getting thrown around kind of a lot.
Yes, and from Lena toward Kara, from Kara toward Lena, it was getting thrown around a lot.
Just a big old love fest.
Which leads me to have to ask, what was going on the couch there? Because I have theories.
Are we talking about the threesome scene?
Yes, the threesome scene. So is that your take on it too? That either Kara and Sam or one or the other, like they picked up on that whole handshaky vibe thing that was going on a couple episodes ago? And one of them was like, oh, am I into this? I think I might be into this.
I mean, everybody's so attractive. Why not? They seem to get along really well. Everybody's really nice. Why is Lena always in the middle? There's a question for you.
Well, because Lena needs affection.
It's true.
So she likes to be surrounded by the affection. I understand, you know? Kara has other people she can go to for affection. Lena doesn't really have that many people.
It is. It does sort of go along with our whole premise of, like, I think you and I both just kind of, like, want to wrap her in bubble wrap or something. Just protect her. Because she needs it from outside forces and from herself.
She needs to be wrapped in fuzzy sweaters so that she is snuggleable. And then a layer of bubble wrap. And then emotional bubble wrap, whatever that looks like.
It looks like Sam on one side and Kara on the other.
There you go. Because I feel like maybe that's another reason why Sam was like, you know where you two should stay, since the media is staking out that house you two live in because you're totally married. You should stay with me, if you see what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't know. There was still some like awkwardness going on the couch scene. Maybe Sam kind of like lost her nerve last minute. But at the same time, when Kara like pulled away to take that phone call from Alex, it seemed like Sam's hand was kind of gently caressing both Kara and Lena.
I thought you were going to go with the word lingering.
That too, lingering, caressing. I was trying to go for like a alliterative thing with Kara and caressing.
Oh.
But she could linger on Lena and caress Kara. How's that?
There you go.
We'll make it both work. Hey, flexibility is usually required for these things, or so I'm told.
Okay, then.
Whose is this? I don't know. I'll just suck it. Like, that seems to be the qualifications or the necessary attitude.
What is this podcast rated? So I feel like whatever it is, we just crossed it. You just crossed it.
I would also like to take this opportunity to call myself out on something.
You would.
Because last episode, I managed to use the phrase, a variation on top of that, or on top of this, 3 separate times. I had to edit one of them out. But why was I doing that, Chris? Do I usually say that expression, or was it a Freudian slip?
I haven't noticed you saying it a lot, so given another podcast episode that we have recorded but not yet released, I'm going to assume Freudian slip. And just to talk for a moment about things that are going on some of our other podcasts, we relatively recently, released a new episode of our Lost Girl podcast, Drinks at the Doll. We talked about the season 2 episode, death didn't become him.
If you haven't listened to our Lost Girl podcast before, our co-host Annie is a big shipper of Beau and Lauren. So in discussing that episode, it's a lot of us talking about the Beau and Lauren angst, and Kris somehow manages to talk about bobsleds in the same context. So,
I mean, sort of in the same context.
Sort of in the same context. It's in the same context. It's kind of strange, but hilarious.
I feel like if this is a thing that you like listening to, that might be a good thing for you to try out if you're a Lost Girl fan.
You can listen to that episode and find out how to subscribe to the podcast over on our website, drinksatthedoll.com.
So shall we talk about the less fun things that actually happened in the episode? Or rather, the things that happened in the episode which are less fun, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I have some upset feelings about this episode, Kris. Is it okay if I share them with you?
I suppose so.
Okay. So, I don't know if you caught this scene. It was the final scene between Lena and Cara on the couch at Sam's house, where Cara refers to Lena using the S word.
Mm-hmm.
And by S, I mean sister.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of felt unnecessary, and it kind of felt like that was the writers doing what Jeremy Jordan did during this past summer, where it was just taking the wind out of the sails of people who are having a good time shipping Cara and Lena, fully aware of the fact that they're probably not going to get together. You know? It felt like a bit of a cruel, or at the very least tone-deaf reminder is too gentle of a word. Assertion, I guess. That Cara and Lena are just friends, folks. They're so much just friends that we're going to call them sisters.
I do think it's kind of dumb that they had them do that. The writers, I mean. But because I have an uncanny ability to just, like, block out anything that I don't like, for the most part, here's what I'm going to tell you. Clearly, when Cara says sisters to Lena about, well, you've never had sisters before, she's clearly talking about both Sam as a figurative sister and Alex, Lena's new sister-in-law.
Now, if we're going with the subtexty interpretation that Cara and Lena aren't married yet, they're still dancing around the potential for sexy times, it did kind of look like Lena's reaction to Cara using the S word was a bit like, I'm going to go crawl into another bottle of wine because the person I'm interested in just kind of put me in a it's not gonna happen zone. So she didn't seem particularly pleased with that declaration of sister. It's kind of like, oh, that's the word you chose. Thanks.
I'll need to rewatch it.
Well, I'm kind of reading into the scene, Kris. That's kind of
really? Why would you do that? Or to be realistic about it, I mean, Lena and family isn't a great thing.
It's true. That feels like a weird reminder when Lena has not had good luck with family so far. Lena seemed far more happy with the little huggy snuggle that Cara gave her than being called Kara's sister, is all I'm saying. But that's not what Cara did, as you've pointed out. Clearly, Cara was referring to just Sam and Alex as her sisters.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that made me a little upset, I've said before, and I still feel, I'm actually okay with the idea of Lena and James as potential love interests. I've seen some annoyance with people online. They feel like this is coming out of nowhere, and it feels like a neat way to try to resolve the whole people shipping Cara and Lena, and they're not going to do that type of thing. And it's not that I don't understand that reaction. I do. But I've also watched a TV show before, and having two characters who haven't really had a lot of screen time before, pushing them together as romantic leads, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It happens quite a bit, I feel like. So, I'm kind of okay with it in that regard.
Yeah, like, objectively, I'm okay with it. I do feel like they need to fix it now, because they had James pulling the same crap he was pulling last season with his doubt.
Right.
which I think they maybe sort of were trying to work towards fixing at the end of this episode. But it's tired at this point, him doubting her.
And on top of, I don't know why I'm saying that now.
We all know why you are.
So on top of Cara, what Lena was saying, but it bugs me that they have him in this episode being all, it's not so much that he doubts Lena, but it does feel like he's about to kind of throw her under the bus and be like, well, clearly this is right. Her machine was the thing that did the damage. It was built by Lex Luthor. They had him do that in this episode, which is the same episode in which they kind of make very clear the potential tension between the two of them. And I really dislike that choice.
Yeah, but it's something we've seen from these writers before.
And another thing we've seen from these writers before, which I dislike, is they doubled down on sort of the conflictiness between James and Lena at Catco. And I really dislike this. It seems, especially with couples consisting of a man and a woman, I don't like it when couples are formed out of these people who have conflict with each other. I think it sounds like I'm overstating it to some people, I'm sure, but I feel like it's a very unhealthy thing to represent in relationships. Like, oh, this is sexy, the fact that they're clashing all the time.
Yeah. That's something you see a lot with TV, basically. Because all of those TV shows that follow that sort of pattern, like your Moonlighting or your Bones or your Castle, at least they all start off that way. They're seeing different sides of things and constantly in conflict with each other, and it's set up as a flirtation of sorts, and it often feels weird to me. Yeah.
I feel like Lena and James haven't reached the pitch that other couples have, where they just are really, or clear soon-to-be couples or eventual couples have, where they are just yelling at each other all the time. It's not gotten that bad.
No.
But at the same time, I just don't want it at all, you know? So, but they're not together yet, and if they're going to go there, I want them to make Lena and James more on the same page and not at odds with each other, the way that they have been the past couple of times we see them interact with each other.
Right, turn them into like a power couple kind of a thing.
I will say, though, I think something that just sort of reinforces what we were saying last time, heteronormativity, it's a thing, and it's terrible. Lena, I feel like, looked at Cara with more obvious, like, sexiness, desire, tension, whatever you want to call it, in the same episode. Then she looked at James. Mm-hmm. And you also have, like, Cara in this episode just unconditionally supporting Lena, being there for Lena, believing Lena is a good person, inspiring Lena to think she's good enough to save herself. I feel like when you put James next to Cara, clearly Cara seems like a better partner for Lena than James does. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I mean, the fact that we're recording this podcast would indicate that I agree. If you have any thoughts about this episode of Supergirl, or our thoughts about this episode of Supergirl.
Sorry, we got kind of serious at the end here.
I tried, you guys. If you have any thoughts, you can send them to us in a number of ways. You can email us at feedback@askgenretv.com. You can record a voice memo on your smartphone and email it to us. You can call our listener voicemail line and leave us a message there at 972-514-7223. You can also get in touch with us on Twitter at AskGenreTV.
Analysis is part of the Ask Genre TV family of podcasts. You can find our other podcasts about Lost Girl and Killjoys and Orphan Black and some other stuff over on our website, AskGenreTV.com.
Thank you so much for listening.
You can find that podcast and figure out how to subscribe over at our website, drinksatthedoll.com.
I like that you phrased it, figure out how to subscribe.
I know. I don't know why I said that. Like,
it's real difficult. We gave you a series of riddles.
Let me try that again.
Good luck.